Alright, so now we're moving on to the next part of chapter 5.5, which is examples 4 and 5. Right now we're going to learn how to transform linear equations into standard form, and if we go back to our notes, it says that a standard form of linear equation must have a, b, and c as integers, which are positive and negative whole numbers and 0. But remember, a and b cannot both be 0. So basically we have to make this slope-intercept form and turn it into ax plus by equals c. Now if you read this plan that I gave you, it says how can you get started? You need to clear the fraction, because some of you say, oh, I'm just going to add 3/5 to both sides, and I'll just get 3/5 x plus y equals 4. Oh, there it is. But remember, we have to have integers, which means we have to have whole numbers that are negative or positive. So I'm going to take the equation that I was given and rewrite it. And notice it says multiply each side of the equation by the denominator. So the denominator is the bottom of the fraction, which is 5. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5 and this side by 5. 5 times y is 5y. Now the 5 over 1 over here, that makes this 5 and this 5 cross out. So this just turns into a negative 3x. Remember, the x goes up with the top because the 5 got canceled out. And then we also have to do, so we multiplied 5 times negative 3 over 5x, and we also are going to do 5 times 4, which is 20. Now notice we have no more fractions, so all I need to do now is get x and y on the same side. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. These cross out, and I'm left with 3x plus 5y equals 20. That's our answer, because this is in standard form. What's our a? Our a is 3. What's our b? Our b is 5. And our c is 20. Notice, we do not have any numbers in for x and y, just like we did in point slope and slope intercept. Okay, so I want you to set up this next problem right here. Remember, bring that negative that's in between them, bring it up to the top, and also bring that x up to the top, because we already know that we're going to want to get rid of that 7. Okay, so right now I want you to pause the video and see if you can get the same answer as I do. Okay, so I see the denominator is 7, and I know I can't have fractions in my answer, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. I'm going to multiply 7 over 1 here, because I know that the 7s will cross out eventually. So 7 times y is 7y. 7 times negative 3x over 7, the 7's cross out, which means it's just negative 3x. And then I also have to do 7 over 1 times 5, which is a positive 35. Now, I need to get the x and the y on the same side, so I need to bring this over here. So I'm going to add 3x to balance it out. And I have 3x plus 7y equals 35. And yes, it does matter if the x or the y comes first, because standard form is ax plus by equals c. Okay, so make sure you understand that we need to get x and y on the same side, and there can be no fractions. Okay, so the next one is using standard form as a model. So a festival sells ride tickets for 50 cents each and game tickets for 20 cents each. You have $5 to spend on tickets at the festival. Write an equation that describes the items you can purchase. That's the part that we're going to focus on first. So I'm going to use two different equations. Two different variables. I'm going to use tickets. Actually, no, because they're both tickets. We're going to do rides and games. So we're going to use R for rides and G for games. Now some of you would think that this is easy, because it would just be, oh, it's 0.5 for 50 cents times R plus 0.2 G, because it's 20 cents per game ticket, equals the $5 that I have to spend. But we have an issue here. The issue is these are not integers, so we have to change them to not be integers anymore. Now, it's really easy to do that. all we have to do is move the decimal over one place to the right. So we're going to make this a 5, this a 2, but if we change these ones and move it over one each, that means we got to move this one over one each, which makes it 50. So now my new equation is 5r plus 2g equals 50. Okay, so now we have our equation, and I'm going to bring it up here because now I can try to graph this. How do I graph it? Well, I have to find the x and the y intercepts. So I'm going to rewrite this problem twice, and I'm going to plug in 0 for r on one of them and plug in 0 for g on the other to try to find our x and y intercepts. So 5 times 0 plus 2g equals 50. So g equals 25, because if these cancel out, you divide both sides by 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25. And this one, if you plug in 0 for g, so you have 5, this cancels out, 5r equals 50, which r equals 10. It doesn't matter which one's x and which one's y, because we're using r and g here, but I know one of them is going to have to be my y-axis, one of them is going to have to be my x. I'm going to use the y-axis as our g, and I'm going to use the x-axis as our r. So I'm just going to put in parentheses g up here and r down here. So I need to go find r on the x-axis because our r is going to be our x. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where it crosses the x-axis, and it crosses the y-axis at 25. Now, I'm not going to try to count to 25 all the way up here because that would take forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. We know this is 24, and this is 26, so it's right between them. So it's going to go right here. So watch what I do here. I have my x-axis and I have my y-axis. I'm going to put a line in between them like this. I'm going to connect them. Like so. And now that we have all this stuff graphed, I'm going to erase this so I can show you guys that. Here's our line. What this line means is I can pick anywhere on here, anywhere on this whole entire line, and it will give me different combinations of game tickets and ride tickets I can purchase. So watch what that means. What is this order pair right here? It's 0, 25. That means we know that XY, we don't use XY right now, we're using R and G, which is ride tickets and games. Now remember, this is the y-axis, which means it's the games. That means you could play 25 games with your $5, but could you ride any rides? No. So there's one combination. I could ride 10 rides, but could I play any games? Nope, because that is on the x-axis. So there's two combinations. I need 3. So I'm going to go find a spot on the line that fits nicely, and I see a spot right here. And that spot is 2. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So we got this spot right here is 220. So that means I could ride 2 rides and play 20 games. Well, let's see if that fits our equation. Our original equation was 5, sorry about that, 5r plus 2g equals 50. Let's see if that works with the money that we have. Some of you would say, well, I only have $5. Remember, we moved the decimal over. Okay, so r and g. So let's plug in 2 for r and plug in 20 for g. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 20 is 40. 40 equals 50. So this is another combination that we could have. And any dot on this line that crosses 2 points, so like right here would be an instance, would work for this problem. Okay, so here's our last problem of chapter 5.5. I want you to try to do this the best you can. See if your graph matches up the same or matches up with mine. Okay, so after reading through this problem, I found out that each song is being sold for $1 and movies are being sold for $12. So what I did is I put S equals songs equal $1 and F equals films for $12. Now notice I switched the Y and the X here just to show you that it doesn't matter which one's which. So I made my equation. My equation was $1 per song plus $12 per film equals the $60 that I have to spend. I wrote it 2 times because I want to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And remember, the F is X, the X is our F and the Y is our S. Now, when I plugged in 0 for S to solve for F, I got F equals 5. Remember, F is our X, so I put a dot on 5. And then when I put in 0 for F and got our S by itself, I got S equals 60, which means that I could buy 60 songs with no movies, so there's my other dot. Now I'm going to erase all of this stuff up here, or to the left, so we can focus more on this graph. Notice on the graph I used a times 5 on the y-axis, meaning that it's going up by 5s. So here's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And I spaced them out. And then notice down here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I want to do is I want to try to find dots that work out for the X that I used on my line right here, the X's that I've used. So I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to just draw some lines straight up to see if we can find some lines that cross spots at a good spot. I know that wasn't the greatest English in the world, but hopefully you guys get what I mean. So let's see, if I bought one movie, if I bought one film, okay, how many songs could I buy? Remember, this is songs and this is films. So if I bought one film, it looks like I would buy, remember this is 60, so that's 55, that's 50, and that's 45. So I'd say somewhere, let's just say it's 46 songs. So if I bought 46 songs for $1 each, that means I buy 40, that means I spent $46 on songs. That means I only bought one film. And that film was $12. So that means altogether I spent, my total is $58. And that works because I only have $60 to spend. So 1, 46 could be one of my order pairs that work with that situation. Another one would be 0 films. Whoa. Losing it here. 0 films and 60 songs. And then last we could also get 5 films and 0 songs. So basically we just have to find dots on the line that make sure that we can still spend underneath our budget. That is it for this section. Our key concepts is just telling us that when we're doing standard form, we have to find our y and our x-intercept. Over here you see it says slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We have our point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. And now we have our standard form, ax plus by equals c. So make sure you memorize these 3 different linear equations.